So I want to talk about another aspect of wintertime on the medicine wheel or the wheel of life. You know, in my tradition, winter's the space of the north. And I've talked about it a few videos ago about it being a time of introspection and a time to feel deeply. You know, and in addition to that, I want to talk another aspect or kind of dimension of this time of introspection. Okay, if you look at nature, okay, and like say what the tree is doing, I mean, the life energy of nature is going inside, you know, like it's going into the ground, or it's the animals are hibernating, they're going into the earth. The energy of the tree is no longer in the leaves, it's going inside itself. And it kind of is going in, it's almost got this dormant feeling to it. You know, in the wintertime, nature is kind of hibernating or dormant. You know, it's almost like, in terms of us, perhaps it's like it's in the void. It's like its movement and momentum has come to a stop. You know, maybe that could happen for us. I think that because the energy, if it's in nature, if the energy is in nature, the energy is there for us to tie into. And can be a little daunting, you know, or even scary, you know, because it's like, it's just what happens if we stop, you know, and our momentum stops. And the way that we see things, our perspective of life, we just allow it to stop just for a little while. You know, there's this thing that we have this way of seeing life. You could call it an operating system, or maybe a paradigm, or perhaps a level of consciousness. And it's the way we see things, and it's our reality, really. If you think it's the reality, it's the way we can. How we construct to. This is what life is to us, and this is what life means to us. You know, this is how we move through life. These are my values. These are my ethics. This is what I stand for. You know, and so we have this, and there's an opportunity. You know, and so the first thing to consider is maybe this doesn't have to stay fixed. You know, if most of you watching this video, I'm sure have had that. The way you see life has changed. Perhaps it's after a really significant event. You know, and giving birth to a child, or having a loved one die, or retiring, or getting married, or becoming an adult, you know, or whatever else. These major junctures, if you will, I've sometimes called them existential changes, you know, is like your old way of seeing things kind of, it changes, like it or not, you now see the world differently. You know, and it's like you're in a whole new world. Well, the good news is we don't need to wait for this life-changing event to happen to do this. We can do this in the winter time. You know, we can do this by just allowing ourselves to slow down and even to stand still for a while, and just, you know, some of the Zen folks might call it emptying your cup, you know, of the old ways of seeing things, your old assumptions, your old belief systems, and just, you know, as you do your inquiry this winter, it's a great time to look at, you know, what's working in your life and what's not working, and what really matters to you in life. You know, and it's a perfect time to do all that stuff, and I often talk about that. And so this time I want to talk a little bit about the way we do that. So when you're asking yourself what matters, what you really want, what, you know, have you been allowing yourself to have it? What's been working in your life? What's not working in your life? You know, what do I want more of? What do I want less of? You know, as we do that, and that's also part of this whole thing in the time of introspection, as we do that, if you'd like to do it, of course it's an invitation, but as we do that, it's kind of, I want to talk about, this is about the way we do that. is it's just allowing ourselves to not stop ourselves, to not, so this reality, it has an edge. And when we get near the edge, that's when we start, finding reasons like, oh, I can't go beyond that, and, you see this sometimes in dreams. Sometimes when I'm at the edge of it, I start feeling a little like woozy. It's just like almost a little like, spacey's not the right word, almost a little disoriented. Like I can almost think of something, but not quite. I can almost see it, but not quite. That's the edge of my level of consciousness, the edge of my reality, if you will. So this paradigm and this operating self, it keeps itself intact. So when we inquire and we start thinking about what we really want and what really matters, and when we get to the edge of that limiting reality, we start saying, oh, well, but I could never do that. And it's just like, and according to the way, it's like, well, I'm invested in this, and I'm married, and I have kids, and I have this job, and and there's this tonal reality. It's like, oh, but I could never do that. And that may be true, but for the purposes of inquiry, maybe we just stop with the limitations. Like, okay, just for the evening, if you will, or just for the next little while in my inquiry here, what if I could do it? Okay, what if I stop stopping myself and let myself really daydream without the limitations, without the rational and the I can't do it and it won't work and that, and what'll happen, and we just let ourselves go beyond that, and just sit with it, just as an exercise, as a ceremony or an inquiry. I think that's why people like to do sometimes psychedelic ceremony. It might be ayahuasca or psilocybin or other things. Is like we do that because sometimes those teacher plants, they take away that you can't do that, or the what if, or it just, that goes away, and then we can just expand into, and almost it's more of a vertical, actually. We can kind of drop into a new dimension of being and a new level of consciousness. And so the energy is here for that. So this is just an invitation to maybe do some daydreaming, daydreaming without borders, without limitations, emptying your cup and just like, let's just really let go and think about what we'd really like. Maybe some of you know I've been thinking about Australia. It's like, what if I was in Australia? No, that doesn't mean I have to move, but just like go with it. What if I was in Australia? It just is like, kind of go with it and just see where it takes you, and just let it go beyond the limitations. And you're just like, I'm just daydreaming, I'm just spitballing, I'm just thinking, I'm just, and then it's like, that's what we do in ceremony too. I talked about the teacher plants. That's what we do, that's what ceremony is. That's why we do retreats. I'm going to be doing a spring retreat and a fall retreat this coming year. It's like you turn off your cell phone. You're invited to turn off your cell phone. You don't have to, but and you just kind of stop the momentum of your life and just drop down. And it's just like, what do I really care about? And what do I really want? And what really matters? And what would I like to create this coming year? And just allow yourself to dream and allow yourself to see beyond your limitation and beyond your reality, and see what happens. It can get a little scary, as I said before. It can get a little scary because we use our reality to kind of keep ourselves oriented. And sometimes when you go beyond it, you start feeling, whoa, that void. We don't like the void much. We like to have walls to kind of hang on to. So just be compassionate with yourself and just realize you might feel a little disoriented. you know, it might feel a little, oh my God, you know, but it's just an exercise. It's just a ceremony. It's just an inquiry. And then sometimes what that happens is we can drop down into a new dimension. And if we like it, we can go back there. And this is how we can move into a new level of consciousness, a new dimension of being. But that's over time. This is just the beginning. This is just a fun exercise of like, allow yourself to inquire maybe, and allow yourself to see beyond where you'd normally stop yourself. So anyway, that is my video for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an awesome week. And if you would like, you know, see where you might go if you were to just stop stopping yourself and just have a true, free daydream or dream for your life. I will see you in a week.